Journal entry, 22nd of the month of February, in the year of our Lord, 1179. The harsh winter of 1178 had not been kind to the French armies. Fleeing peasants from the north brought harrowing accounts. Starving French soldiers, a mad light in their eyes, ravaged the countryside for anything edible. Livestock went first, then grain stores, yet the darker tales, only spoken in hushed voices, spoke of those who disappeared, and odd bones found in clearings a little way off the camps. Italy, after the defeat in the mountains, had rallied their remaining troops to Toulouse and was busy besieging Aquitaine and unable to come to our aid. Thus we found ourselves outnumbered once more in our winter quarters in Clermont-Ferrand, with more than 2 enemies to one of our own, as the starving French in their desperation began besieging Castle Thiers. We could not let the walls be breached, for what unspeakable acts would follow would fall on our conscience. Thus, on the 27th of January, we packed the meager remains of our winter provisions and set out eastwards into the rising sun. 6 days we marched hard to relieve our embattled countrymen. Clotaire de Lagerie, leading our troops, our acclaimed knights and myself, spoke words of courage. The men steeled their resolve, for the coming battle was to decide not just our fate, whom would live or die on the field, but if we were to fail, our lands and loved ones would face a much grimmer doom in the darkness to follow. On the morning of the 7th day, we accosted the besiegers, and they were far fewer in number than we had expected. The starving soldiers must have scattered into the countryside to murder and pillage. With grim determination, we seized the moment and cut them down where they stood. No quarter would be given to any man who had willingly joined this foul host, yet we would show mercy to those who could be saved. By the time their reinforcements arrived, we had control of the field, yet still they would throw themselves at us in a frenzy, starved and more than a few gone entirely mad. When the grim work was done, we counted more than 10,000 slain. We buried our fallen on the field with honor, and the pyres of their dead would burn for days, as the fire cleansed the rot that had overtaken them. Of the noblemen, we ransomed those we deemed redeemable. With those with obvious demonic possession, we put to the dungeon, where priests would assess the state of their soul, and they would remain, if found lost, to descend into hell when their time came. Thus ended the great dark host of the French, built under demonic guidance. Yet our work is not done, for we must now root out the source of this evil and fight our way towards Paris. Now that the grim work is done and the fields of Thiers have been cleansed of the enemy and their remains, we do actually need to split up the army because we are overloading the supply, which means we are actually not be getting enough food. And I think in general, if we're looking north, about 5,000 seems to be a good number. So I'm going to split off the siege engines. And we probably want to split off a fair few of the levies. The knights will stay with this one, but the levies the larger groups of levies here can actually split off to make that more manageable. There we go. And this army will actually be not standing still, but Godofred de Guyenne can take care of this, my marshal, because he is a military engineer, which means that he speeds up the siege progress. All right, so that doesn't mean that the other army can't go besiege anything, but we'll have to, now that the French have been beaten, and they have been thoroughly beaten. The French army has been completely wiped out at Thiers, and all the French have left are a few levies that they're raising, which means that House Otakaren now has relatively free reign, as do the Italians and any other war that the French are waging in the east. That isn't to say that Lithuania doesn't have much left either. So most of the enemy troops have been wiped out. They can rebuild their armies over time, but we'll be using the time given to move north towards Paris. So the first target is going to be Saint-Pourçain, and that's where the siege engineers are going to go. And that should be sufficiently large to besiege that. That doesn't mean that the rest of the army is going to stand idle, but they're already going to... I'm not sure if they can bypass. We'll see if we can make our way north. But for now, we will move out, and the Italians will also begin to siege, hopefully. So let's see. Can we move? No. This would. I think this would cause this would cause us trouble. Yeah, because we haven't taken Saint-Pourçain, so this wouldn't work out. Which means we can look for another castle that we can besiege while that isn't taken. And Limoges sounds like a good option. We don't really have to be afraid of much at this point. So we'll go through our homelands and then towards the county of Limousin. We do have to guard, obviously, the siege engines to... Oh no, there's actually a fair amount of enemy troops in the north. We've still got some of the vassals holding out here, and that means we are going to have to guard, and in case they make any moves, and the Italians are going to besiege Bourbon by the looks of it, and if these troops in the north are making any move, then we will have to interfere. Now the siege of Saint-Pourçain is going to be running for 5 months. This is simply just siege progress from the siege engines, but that means we'll see if we can move. We'll see if we can move a bit closer and accost the enemy in the north as soon as we can. We haven't found any more secrets, but we will continue. And the king of Lithuania has died. So there's a new king who has joined, but I am keen to accost the enemy here. I'm not necessarily sure that we can get there without losing men on the path, which I am trying to avoid at all costs. So while the Italians here are assisting with the siege, Bourbon is actually getting besieged rather quickly. Whereas the castle at Saint-Pourçain is significantly more powerful. Yeah, it's a more powerful fortification, so might take a little longer. Now, can we make our way past that? I believe we can, and they are fleeing. So okay, in that case, we shall return. Not give chase because that'll be costly in terms of supply and men. And we have found that my court musician is plotting to kill Otakar. Blathering. Good grief. What is she having? Oh, she's directly the rival. Okay. So that means my court musician, I'm almost assuming that he has refused some of her advances, maybe. So she has attempted murder, which means we may have to. She is married to my master of the horse, but we may have to. She might flee if we can't catch her, and then she would take my master of the horse with her. Don't necessarily. Do I have another master of the horse in case she leaves? Yes, I have plenty of those. He is a relatively capable knight, though, that I wouldn't wish not to lose. So we'll. You see what I did there. So we will for now. Leave things as they are. The mayor of Crépy, I am not entirely certain if he was. If he was involved much. He is infected as well. So maybe we'll just ransom him out. The other two were definitely involved with the darkness, and as such they shall be taken care of. This is the castle. I don't think we can. No, we can't accost them there because So they'll retreat north. The mayor has left, and we have gained some coin to support our war efforts. We will resupply the army, and it looks like the first of the possessed has very, very quickly, surprisingly quickly, passed away in the dungeon. He wasn't of any age or any other affliction, so I think the lords of hell have called him to them, and justice will be served. Henri de Beaugency is a known criminal. How is he a known criminal? What's his crime? He's been excommunicated. How so? What has he done? Oh, he has been adulterous and has been excommunicated in the process. Okay, we will deal with that as we see fit. For now, we have a war to fight and other problems to go ahead. So for now, the army will resupply while we're besieging together with the Italians in the north. Okay, Italy has taken Bourbon, which means I think we can actually move. We can actually now move northwards and resupply in the lands that we now control, and then siege our way to north towards the capital. Now, obviously, the troops are going to be replenished, and they are hiring mercenaries. However, the king is still in debt, and yeah, even if he replenishes with levies, there's not an awful lot that he's going to gain from that. All right, so if we move towards Paris, let's see. From here, we have to take Issoudun Castle and Sancerre probably as well. Can we directly move on to Sancerre? We can. So let's begin besieging Sancerre, and we'll bring the siege engines in once things gets better. We have not swayed the Pope, but plagues are now breaking out in the north, and it is the Parisian sweats. So it looks like the demonic affliction is further increasing the blight upon the land. Now the enemy armies can be found here. They do have some horsemen. They do have a fair amount of pikemen, 200 light horse, but they are lacking the heavy cavalry. So if they come in towards the plains of Sancerre to defend, I think we can take them. So we might begin the siege, and I think in the open plains we can crush them with our heavy cavalry if necessary. We have begun the siege of Sancerre, but without the siege engines, this fortification is going to be relatively difficult to crack. Currently got a progress of 0.8, whereas here we've got a significant better progress due to the siege engines. So once we complete here, we might bring the rest north. The bigger question is, will the armies that are currently hiding in the forest of Orléans come to the relief of the besieged castle? So we will see how that will end up. But in the end, once we've completed the siege of Saint-Pourçain, then we can bring further troops to the north and assist here, and maybe we can end up wiping out these armies here as well. Just have to keep an eye on things. The siege has been completed. Saint-Pourçain is ours, and we have taken an old frail knight, Ethelmer, as our prisoner. He is an exalted warlord, so he must have been a leader of knights. But he does not look like he's part of this. So we shall release him. Release him immediately and give him back his freedom. He is a man of honor, and as such, not a problem for us. So, what do we do with the enemy troops here? What we can do is bring the second army north, That is going to give us trouble with supply, however. Or we can assist the Italians in their siege of Nevers, which is having a good progress already. So we might just assist the we might just bring the army north and then split off some troops. Leave the siege engines with the main army, split off some troops, and reinforce the Italians. So let's do that. Let's do it that way. All right. Our armies have joined, which means we now have. We'll merge them for now, and then we can reorganize. So we've got a maximum supply of 5,300. So we shall split off sufficient levies to bring us down to that supply limit, and then they can go and help out the Italians while I keep the main troops. There we go. This army shall be actually it'd be making sense to give Godofred de Guyenne command, but I'm concerned that the troops from the forest will join. So we'll give him command of this new army, which doesn't have any siege engines, but that army can assist the Italians in their endeavors and with besieging the territory over there. And Cecilia has made her first steps. That is well done, my little one. So let's bring... Okay, they've actually completed the siege. In that case, we'll follow the Italians along, but we don't want to go too far. Where are they heading? They're heading further east. So we'll follow the Italians along for now. We'll see how things go. I'm not interested in starting new legends, but we do have to keep an eye on the plague. Yeah, the plague is clearly has been put between us and the capital. So the Black Plague covering these lands is intended to keep us away from these fields. And it's a last-ditch effort of the demonic forces to put whatever they can between them, their center in Paris Castle, in the royal palace, and our approaching forces. Now, the king has hired mercenaries and is beginning to re-raise men from the lands, but he does not have any professional soldiers at this point, which means that I think his war is going to end sooner rather than later. Anyway, for now, we're progressing the siege. Enemy troops seen in the east here. So we can... Where the Italians besieging here. So we'll assist the Italians in the siege. And that also helps in case... that'll also help in case the enemy troops make any moves while we are finishing off the siege of Sancerre here. I'll just have to keep an eye on where the French are going. And we have found who is he in? He is already afflicted by the plague. Is he the mayor? Mollery of Mollery? Where's Mollery? Okay, actually that's right over there. So yes, another witch found, another member of the evil cult. Once we take over things in and get the fool of a king to abdicate, and we'll begin to eradicate. Then we'll begin the campaign to eradicate the evil and root out its causes, and that's when we'll expose all the people that we have found to be involved in this. During one of our lessons in my son Guillaume's chamber, I noticed an impressive amount of rocks neatly displayed on a shelf. One of the stones stands out in the collection. It is quite rough, but upon closer inspection there is a deeply red, brilliant hue contained within. Guillaume notices my interest as he picks it up and hands it over. "You can have it, father." "Oh, thank you." So we have gained the rough gemstone from my son, plus 1 learning. I might actually trade that out. Well, this was my father's. Sorry, no, this is mine actually. Gained during things. So we'll keep it in our collection for now. We might wear it later on when things change. All right. So the Italians are making progress in their siege. Enemy troops are moving into the Holy Roman lands in the east. First Army of Tonneroi under Duke Borel, the king's spy master, bringing a fair amount of men, but none of the French main army because they have all been slain. But that's something in the east that the Italians can deal with. Siege progress here. Yeah, we'll assist the Italians with the siege progress. Do they have any siege engines themselves? They do not. No, actually they do. But our troops don't. So because we left the siege engines here, obviously. So yeah, we'll just help with the reinforcing. Okay. So for now, the siege in the siege in Sancerre is about to conclude. Count Humphrey of Sablé, who has been found of demonic possession and is a known torturer and whatever else, someone is attempting to murder him. Yeah, I am not surprised. It looks like the demonic forces are trying to get rid of him before he can talk. All right, we now control Sancerre. And we have one. Do we want to accost the enemy? Do we want to accost the enemy in the north here? They are well supplied, and the king is still in debt, but not for much longer. So it might be worth, if we can't leave this host around, but it might be worth simply eradicating them. But it is not, fighting in the forest is to their advantage, because they do have 400, they have 1,100 pikemen. So no, we don't actually want to fight them in the forest, because that would be to their advantage. Instead, we are going to move north, and we shall besiege Montargis, the major castle and capital. And then if they so desire, then they can join the fight in the plains, where we have the advantage. Count Humphrey of Sablé has escaped our dungeons. The guards have nothing to say in their defense, but the damage is already done nonetheless. Curse him. Yes, I am not okay, so this means that the demonic forces that are at work here can even assist him in escaping something like the dungeons of the castle in Toulouse. So next time we find people involved in this, we may actually have to execute them on the spot to cleanse the prisoners. All right, First Army of Gdansk is moving. We might actually try to chase that down. Let's see if we can catch them, because I don't want them to begin assembling. Unfortunately, Clotaire de Lagerie, the knight who has so bravely decided to leave the French army and to take the lead, has been afflicted by the fever, and he might not be for this world much longer. The evil surely takes revenge, and we do actually have to be careful not to. Let's have a look if we have anybody else who is afflicted by this. Bernard Esi has been afflicted by it as well, obviously due to our proximity to it. We may have to. They're really trying to keep us away from the capital. All right, so that means he can no longer. He can command the army as is, but he will command from his sickbed. So, for now we'll move our forces a bit south, try to clean out some of the enemy troops that are moving around here, and see if we can escape that deadly plague that is making its rounds. Okay, we have managed to catch the King of Lithuania and his remaining archers in the forests of Bourbon, despite the fact that they are fighting in advantageous terrain. We have wiped out completely the enemy, and the Lithuanians shall not return back home. So that leaves the first army of Navarra. Where are they going? Let's see if we can intercept these troops as well before they make their way out. Okay. We've got my queen, meanwhile, improved the development in Toulouse. Well done, Queen Valence. And we are dealing with Montluçon with the Duke of Navarra. And I think his small band shall be wiped out relatively quickly as well. Yes, not many are left. Meanwhile, the Italians proceed with the sieges, and we'll reinforce what we can to speed up the process. But we have to try to, as much as possible, escape. Who else? Is anybody else? My personal champion as well has been now afflicted by the typhus, and some of my knights have caught it too. So we will remain in the south, lest we shall be overwhelmed by the Black Plague in the north, and instead, they're besieging Burgundy. Okay, we'll see if we can. That is none of my concern really, but we'll see if we can wipe out any French troops that we can wipe out in the process. Are troops that we do not have to fight in the future. Count Ademar of Carcassonne has converted. He is not too happy with me. The people are starting to complain about the duration of the war, so we should seek to end it sooner rather than later. And okay, the Italians have abandoned the siege. We'll maintain the siege with the troops that we have at station, but we are chasing down the enemy incursion here. And I have a new martial perk. Great. So what are we going to take? I was going to take Enduring Hardships, but I think Engineered for Destruction is what we want, because we do need to end this war sooner rather than later. Bernard Ezi has died. He had been afflicted, but he has died of old age in the end. The demonic plague has not managed to catch it, to take him. But that means I do need a new bodyguard. Henri de Beauchamp? No, definitely not him. Do we have aptitude? Guichard de Nice, my acclaimed knight. I'm not sure I trust him completely, but so far he has proven worthy. It might not be the best man, but we shall get him employed for now. Do we need a high almoner? That improves our piety. So I could get my personal physician to double into that, but monthly piety plus 20%. We'll take it. It's just to ensure some piety in these dark times. But for now, we're trying to chase down the first army of Tonneroi, and we're escaping from the plagues of the north. There we go. Battle of Forez is joined, and I have completely forgot to put a commander in. But regardless, we have taken down the enemy rather quickly. And Adrien de Coligny, my caravan master, as well has died of old age in the meantime. And that means the acclaimed knights, and yeah, we do need a new army commander. We could, I think Prince Aldebert of Toulouse shall lead the armies. My son will be in command from here on out. And we have, regardless, destroyed the enemy forces convincingly. All right. So while the plague is still raging in the north, we will secure some more enemy holdings here. This is a city. Masson sounds like a good place to begin besieging. So let us see that we can get that completed rather quickly and get that out of the way. I have gained another martial lifestyle perk from the ongoing battles and the practice that has happened. I think living off the land would be good for additional supply capacity or enduring hardship for plague resistance. But I think enduring hardships, because then prepared conscription is going to be the next one that we can take after that. We'll do this for now. And it looks like the French have once more raised their armies. A few trained men, but mostly levies, which means I think we will probably once again leave the siege engines behind and move west to intercept the enemy troops there. So let's join up with the troops here. Swap things around and then relieve the siege. They are counter-sieging Sancerre, so that's where we shall move next. All right. So for now, we will. Can I select both? There we go. For now, we'll reorganize. We shall leave the mangonels, and instead we are gonna bring. What's the supply here? That's about 5,000. So. We're actually that's probably about as many troops as we want to bring without losing supply. So we shall. We're currently oversupplied because we're all in the same place. But let's move towards Nevers, and then we will relieve Sancerre and overwhelm the French troops there. We do require a new caravan master, however, and Princess Matilda of Toulouse would make an excellent person for that, given how well learned she is. So she shall be our new caravan master, and she will give us 20% supply limit and a 10% army movement speed. Well done. Anybody else that we need to currently replace because they have died out? No, it's just some of our acclaimed knights have died of old age. So some of the accolades have lost a little bit. That said, our troops are still very capable and powerful. So the acclaimed knights in our retinue give us 40% heavy infantry damage, 40% heavy cavalry damage, and overall 30% army damage. So that makes a big difference as well. So with that, I'm confident that my son can lead the troops to relieve Sancerre. Okay, there are actually additional troops now coming in the north. So we may have to, and the Italians are on the move as well. We may have to be somewhat careful here that, depending on where they are going, if the Italians could leave some troops here and not move off. I'm a little concerned about the Genevan army there. However, there's not an awful lot of them. But obviously they have actual men-at-arms, so our troops would be disadvantaged. So I think we'll retreat for now. And while we are dealing, I don't wish to lose my siege engines. So for now we'll break off the siege and retreat back to safety, while my son's troops will deal with the enemy where they stand. We might intercept. How long is the city going to hold? 38 days. Let's relieve the city first. I don't think we can intercept the enemy necessarily, but so far there are a fair amount of troops. If we can catch them before they join the enemy in the forest, that would be good. All right, there we go. So we have caught 3,000 of them under the command of the Duke of Champagne. And they have brought whatever troops they could muster, but I think my son can lead us to victory here in the open plains. So let's see if we can wipe these out. And with that, he has won his first decisive victory. And again, most of the troops on the ground have not made it back out. That, however, leaves still a fair amount of enemy forces here. And we do have to, once again, I do not actually wish to be this close to the plagued lands. So instead we'll return and deal with the Genevan army that is currently trying to besiege Autun. And then we will see where the French are moving off to. And let the Italians deal with the situation in the north. And we have accosted them on the fields of Autun under Duke Thomas of Savoy. And my son, Prince Aldebert of Toulouse, is leading our troops into battle. And yeah, I don't think they will stand a chance. There's a fair few of them. And once again, we have slaughtered the enemy mercilessly, except for those who have, obviously, who have surrendered and have been found in good standing. Now Châlons will be besieged once more. We'll bring the first army under Godefroy de Guyenne in, and we have found that the Duke of Normandy is attempting to murder somebody else. That's not unusual in these times. So instead, we will. What is this? Army of Dijon. We can actually accost these. Nope, we can't, because we can't bypass the fortress. All right, that's. We'll stay where we are. We're oversupply here, so that's not good. Let's retreat somewhere where we actually have supply. And once more, we'll be starting the siege there. We'll have to keep an eye on Dijon, but Dijon has removed himself. So we'll get the army resupplied for now, and then okay, they've come back again. So once again, they try to take Sancerre, and that we shall prevent. So once again, we shall march north. With his coming of age, my tuition of Guillaume is at an end. Even as a child, Guillaume always had a way with words. It is therefore unsurprising that he has taken well to the study of diplomatic relations. With an excellent grasp of all manners of etiquette, an understanding of all kinds of entertainment, and the eloquence to go with it, he will have little trouble navigating a life at court. So Prince Guillaume of Toulouse has come of age and has gained the charismatic negotiator trait. So he's a bit of a diplomat. Well done, Prince Guillaume. We are once again march north to deal with the French host, that's what's left of it. And meanwhile, the armies that are hiding in the forests of Orléans are trouble that may need to be dealt with at some point. Okay, the Italians are moving in as well. And it looks like they're once again trying to retreat. Let's see if we can catch them before they can. No, they have retreated into the forests, and I believe that would be that would be a costly action. So instead we shall once again actually try to go somewhere where we can resupply the troops, because they are running a little low. So. We'll move south and see if we can resupply them, or if we can find a position at which we can intercept the French while we are finishing the siege of Châlons. So the Second Army will continue chasing down the French soldiers if they move out from their hideouts in the forests. We have to observe the spread of the plague, because we're trying to stay away from it as much as possible. And we're still not at the point where we can force our will onto the French king. but we're getting there.